Live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Farmers in Finance. And this week we're gonna have the name of the podcast is Seeds and Sales, Marketing What You Grow. It's obviously like every show. I think it's not all about farming, but we're making the comparison to what it would be like in farming, as me and Gaurav have very good experience with it. And because the farming is like the foundation of life, without food, there would be no life. And so we kind of take it into business. Without business, there would be no life either, right? For some of us. Not all of us are farming nowadays. So I want to start the show with a little quote. This one was from a book I've been reading this past week, and the book name is Becoming Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash, which actually is a fantastic book. If you haven't heard about it, feel free to message us, and we'll make sure you get a copy because it's very important. Whenever you want to start a business, just gives you a different perspective on how we can work together with the system, but yet separate from it in a funny way. Live with the long-term vision, but live like you will die tomorrow. This quote hits me deep because it reminds me that every day on the farm, every seed planted, every weed pulled, every early morning that you rise up, every late night, yay, I love late night. It's part of something bigger, a vision, a future. But if we don't act with urgency, if we don't live like this might be our last chance to share that vision, we miss the moment. That's what this episode is about. Selling with soul, marketing with meaning. Because growing food isn't enough. You have to tell the story, build a brand, and plant the seed of value in people's hearts. It all comes from the heart. Before they taste the fruit, whether you're selling heirloom seeds, raw milk, or handmade goods from your land, your success starts with the harvest. Welcome again to Farmers in Finance, and this is Seeds and Sales, Marketing What You Grow. Today I'm joined again by Gaurav over in India. He's been pretty busy this week. Let him tell his story and how he sees this podcast and shares a bit of his story.
Thanks, Rico, for again connecting and being so consistent on this one. Thanks for pushing me and keeping it ritual for us. It is one of my favorite topic because that was my area of I will say that's what I studied in my master's in business, and then what I implemented in my farm as well. Because, like you said, uh, one of the stories I will tell when we were doing like the research, like which kind of farm we should open, like what cows we should bring in and how should it go. We decided to go for organic A2 milk farm, which is like producing organic milk uh, with the cows, which produce like one third of what current hybrid cows produce in terms of like milk. And we saw that 100% of the organic farms closed within 5 years. And then when I did a thorough research about it, it came out that they were not able to sell the milk to the price to keep up with the operations, because with the output which is one third, you need to increase the prices at least by one third. That's how you comp off, like either you increase the price or either you increase the produce. And that when I saw the topic, I like, damn, that's so close to my heart, because that was a problem which I solved even before like getting into uh, starting the farm. And I told my father, we'll sell milk for 100 rupees like kg, which is like around $1.5 per liter. And uh, normal milk at that time was around 0.5 cents. So we were selling for double the price, but we found out the problem, which comes to my first highlight of the podcast, that farmers, they undervalue what they produce pretty much every time because they miscalculate that what they're putting in. They just calculate the cost, like just shallow, because they don't do budgeting, or they don't calculate the end-to-end operations, like to produce till you sell it, what will be
Hmm.
the cost incurred. And or you can say that they don't value their own efforts, thus they don't value their products as well, which like it's a spiral down process. And it don't kill you at once, but every year when you keep losing money because of you're not selling it for good price, eventually farmers go under debts or they go bankrupt. So the
Isn't that
only
isn't
yeah.
that funny? That kind of applies to everybody that has a business, in some sense. We feel so like gang ho at the beginning, and we're just like, oh, this is it, I'm gonna hit it hard, but then don't do any research, don't do any background, and then like what we talked about last week, no budgets, no nothing, and then all of a sudden they just, like you said, they go in a downward spiral, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, oh, and it feels a failure, right? But
Yeah.
it's just because like what I want to teach in this podcast is about the story. You have to hook it up to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, make it
Yep.
individual. It's like you want to get up every morning and be like, I want to tell my story, not tell somebody else's story. And that's why, everybody dreads their job, like, and then just be like, oh, I don't want to, because you're doing the business of somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty
So
about entrepreneurship.
what this like you said, we did the same thing. When we started selling milk, we identified it's not the milk which people buy. They buy your story,
That's
like
it.
what you're producing and how you're producing.
How you're producing it. Yeah.
So now, if someone talks to me and talk about milk, I have like this inspiring story from my family, that what we pursued, how we pursued, and how we are successfully bringing that change to the society about adopting not only society. When I say society, it includes both supply and demand side. Like we are educating farmers as well, how to increase your prices so you survive and your kids remain in
Yeah.
the same farming business. And on the other side, we are telling clients that you can't get such good product unless until you pay generous for it. It's pretty much simple. Either food was meant to be our medicine, but now it has become luxury. And people are taking this luxury otherwise by buying cheap food in large quantities, which on the other side should be high quality food in moderate consumption. And that's what we did. We were not producing large, we were not doing much. What we did, we just make a story, sell it for double the price, because if we don't sell, we die or we shut down. That's the last thing what good customers need, or like that's need of our, like having good products in the market. Because that's a different story, we'll talk about that also, like chemicals and all that stuff. And then we started selling it local. I didn't make it a national brand. I didn't spend a lot of money on like making apps and everything. It was just like organic growth. We sold our story, we kept our product consistent, we kept increasing prices as the cost of the production increased. And we didn't bother if someone doesn't take it. Then I say, they don't value their health. You're ready to give like maybe $1 today, but later on, when someone a heart attack or diabetes or any kind of problem because of this bio-engineered milk, then they realize that they made a big mistake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how we changed our marketing and sales tactic. We didn't go big, we were local. And for farmer, going local is the best option you can start with. That's the number one thing you should be hitting. Second thing, we valued our product, that what we sell is one of the best, and we do it with wholeheartedly. my family included. Third, we sell it with a story, and we sell at a price that we at least make some money, so that we can keep going ahead with this business venture.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great story, and it kind of applies to pretty much everything. Like every time you start a business, I was just listening to the podcast of a famous guy. I don't even remember his name, but he has a lot of people that come in and they talk about like starting businesses. It's not that you have to create a new business. You just have to be good at what your product is and connect it to the story, right? Like what you said, like Walmart didn't invent Walmart. Walmart wasn't new. He just copied Kmart, and then
Yep.
he actually applied it to himself and mimic. But then he kept growing and researching, and every time he saw something cool, he put it in his store because it would
Mhm.
apply to people. And then that story grew, and then now they're the giant that they are because they brought a different service, but it was already invented. It wasn't like something new, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when I can share a little bit my story. We started a seed company because we were so like so uh, looking forward for the long term vision. That's what it was. We wanted to seed the world with the most cleanest seeds. And at the time, I mean, I don't know if you have heard it too, but the GMO talk was like at its peak. Everybody was talking about these GMO products, sorry, for people that don't know, GMO, it's an acronym for genetically modified organisms. So, and the main company that is behind this research is Monsanto. And what they did is they went into the DNA of the seed and tweaked it out and actually inserted like pesticides from other species so that it would repel the pests that are most common. And it was used for like wheat and corn and all these seeds. And so we are starting to alter life. And then one of the other things that they did is also made them not able to breed. So it was a one-time seed. Talk about long vision there. Like you cripple the world if you start saying, well, this seed can't produce itself over the long term run, right? So what we decided to do is do the opposite. Man, these people are trying to take over the farming industry and try and convince farmers this is the best seeds and everything like that. And then we were watching documentaries where actual farmers were going broke because they had to uh, get their seed supply, and then they would sue if they weren't having their seed because they managed, for some whatever reason, lobbying and government purposes, they managed to patent the seed, so
Mhm.
their pollen would spread over across neighboring crops, and then they would take it over the farm because they would say, hey, you're planting our seed, that's patented seed, you're not supposed to grow that. And I mean, to me at the time, that was like murder and violation of people's rights. I don't know what
Uh-huh.
happened to that because we don't talk about it anymore. I don't know. Maybe we're in a different stage of awareness. But at the
Uh-huh.
time, we were like, whoa, if this is happening, like we need to preserve our seeds. We need long term vision, right? And
Yep.
so we started going and researching what are the best seeds. And that's why we came up with the heirloom seeds. And heirloom seeds, like I said in previous podcasts, they're like just seeds that have been same breeding, but different condition and environments. So they've been spread out across the world. They have seen many different weather patterns, water conditions, soil conditions, and they have adapted over the long time to create the perfect and strongest, most resilient seed, and just naturally, right? So, and we're capable of doing that, especially now that we can, ship seeds across the world, like getting the best seeds of tomatoes and all that stuff, right? So that gave us a motivation. And also I researched myself, like how to store them, right? Because it's one thing you grow them, but then it's also about savings, and that goes with anything, any all you're putting in is energy, right? So you
Yep.
want to find ways to store that energy, to be able to access it again when you need it the most, and then
Yep.
create, like, you know how the markets have, peaks and losses and everything, right? So if you were able to have a product that can store itself forever and you can access it whenever is needed, then you're mitigating the risk of
Mm.
everything. So that it goes with business as well, right? And in our future podcast, we're going to talk about how we can mitigate all these waves and stuff. But so I researched a way of packaging the seeds, right? Whenever we were putting in a seed packet, we didn't have these expensive equipment or anything like that. We just had our hands and our and our vials and our magnifying glasses, and then we were just like trying to look deep into the vial and counting them one by one, and it felt like, we were spreading like wisdom and energy, and it was just like such a satisfying um,
Purpose.
process. Yeah, purpose. And it was just like, wow. And now we're sending them to like the States, and we were sending them to Canada, even to Italy. I sent them back to Italy. And it was just like, wow, this is cool. Like, this is a vision, a purpose, right? And
Mm.
and that goes with also with inventing and being innovative. We created these seed vials. So I took test tubes that they would use um, at
Okay.
like
Lab.
laboratories or anything like that, right? And then
Yep.
I put the seeds in, counted them. I put a cotton swab, and then I put another layer of desiccants, and then I put another cotton swab, and then a cork, so that it
Mm-hmm.
would let it breathe, but not too much, and then just sealed the cork on the outside where the glass and the cork met, and then I put them in like little carousels, one
Mm-hmm.
by one. I drilled the holes, and then they were into a big common vial, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that gave even the story of why did I do that, right? Like, what was the purpose of that, right? But in a sense, it was just like, it's sort of like, once you have the story, you can actually teach something with it too, right? It's
Yep.
like, I made mistakes throughout my life, right? And for example, with seed preservation, oh my god, like at first it was just like in the cupboard, up on top of the shelf, and then you get the seeds in the next season, it's like, oh, what happened? Moisture got in here, or bugs got in here, and I'm like, oh man, I better come up with something better, right? But you don't
Yep.
see all that, like
No.
in any business, you don't see all the trouble, the lessons, or anything like that, right? But when you come up with the product, everybody goes like, whoa, what a great idea. you know
But
like,
then it becomes like for you it's a great idea, but people don't like it sometime.
yeah,
Did it
yeah,
happen to you?
that's true too, right? Like, it just connects to certain people as well, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. It's well, I see it with the real estate too. It's like, you can't please everybody,
Yeah.
but you definitely have a tribe out there. You definitely have somebody that can you can be with, have conversations with, just like me and you did, right? Like, we started this, and we hit it off right away. It's like we knew each other from long ago. I don't know why, but probably because now, as we get to know each other, it's probably because we went through the same experiences, right? And we have the
Oh,
same sort of heart and purpose, right? And then here we are, right, with the podcast and everything, right? So
mm.
so what what sales, like, I just don't want to drag it too on. I still want to keep the structure going. What do you think sales means to farmers?
uh, it's pretty much same what you mentioned before. It's like if you don't know how to sell, it's basically you don't complete the process of farming. It's the most important thing in any business. Without sales, you won't survive, and that's what they say in business. If your business is not good in sales and you want to keep doing it, then it's just an expensive hobby. And I don't think someone who is serious about business want to take it as an expensive hobby where they
Sorry,
keep
I'm laughing, but yeah,
spending
that's true.
spending money on this one. Because if you see, without sales you don't have any money to survive. And when I say sale, it doesn't mean that if it's not selling, sell it for underprice. Sell it for basically a pretty good price. One thing. Second thing, which I saw, I heard from my brother when I was not even aware about much about farming, that they stored their mustard crop for at least 2 years now, and they're waiting for the right price to be sold. And then when I asked, like, okay, if you're holding this, then how you're putting new crop? And he said, oh, he took a loan from the, like, a local mandi guy, like, who is I told you, like, the middleman, and which was charging him hefty fees. And then when I calculated for 2 years, like, why did you hold? Even if you sell at the price you are looking to sell, you're gonna lose money. And when he saw those numbers, and he like, oh my god, I never thought about it. And that's why, like, it's not a very good way. Like, three lessons from here: one, sale is the most important part. If you don't know it, don't know, take help from someone who can help you to sell. Give him
Yeah.
commission, that's fine. Second thing, you should know what price you have to sell by adding all the cost and everything. And in the end, do take out money for your effort as well, to feed
Hmm.
yourself and your family. Third one, and the most important one, don't hold for too long. People get greedy, like, people hold sometimes real estate just to, like, okay, it might get more better. Okay, it might get more better. But at the
Yeah.
same time, the amount of mortgage or like interest they're bleeding on, because it was an investment property, same is like a crop. Don't hold it for long. If you see you're losing money, or you're taking the same money which you were supposed to get from there, and then you're taking it on a loan, compare the interest rates, and then see if it's like pretty good idea to hold. If you see that it's gonna double down and you're gonna make a lot of money, then it might be fine. But generally it doesn't happen like that.
Right.
It never happened like this one.
Yeah. No,
One of
yeah.
the, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to take it back and give importance to the undervalue, what you talked about, undervaluing yourself. And this is not just about farmers, and farmers are very guilty. I mean, I was guilty myself whenever you're taking crops. I have my first experience, zucchini plants, for example. Do you know how much they produce?
Yeah, a
Like
lot.
a ton, lots, right? And then all of a sudden it's one of the easiest crops to grow. Like zucchini are very adaptable, and if they don't cross pollinate. So I was like, I had 40 plants on my first year, and there was like a big long field row. And
Mm.
when we were going to pick, we just picked so many, and we're like, what are we gonna do with this? We're gonna become huge,
You never
rich,
thought
you
about
know
selling.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you never thought about selling. When we went out there, and one or two people bought it because everybody was growing it,
Yeah.
right? And then what we did, we had to go to the grocery store, and then the grocery store was like, "Oh, I can only give you 25 cents each," and we were just like, "Oh, all that work, all that time, all that growing, all that space, all the weeding," and then all of a sudden we never factor in like the cost of a zucchini, because it's but it goes with everything. It's just like, when we do something, if everybody else is doing it, it's probably not gonna pay you well, right? in,
Yeah.
in, in a sense, right? So it's just
No,
like,
even you can do pretty well on that part. Like, it's just like, when you are growing it, you should have a plan ready, how you're
yes.
gonna sell it and how you're gonna sell it for double. Again, prepare your story. You didn't had story at that time. Might be
We
you
didn't have the story. No, we had
had
a lot of
story.
zucchinis, but no
Yeah.
story.
No stories. Product doesn't matter. Stories matter. That was
Yeah,
the point when
yeah,
but yeah.
that's exactly it. That's
Lessons, yeah.
exactly it. And then it's same with the eggs, right? Like we were we were farming eggs, and at the beginning we're like, well, we got to get organic grains, because we were eating them too. So we're like, well, we want to have the best. And then the story then became, well, we go to Armstrong and we get the best grains and they're growing organically. And then look, and we took videos of our pasture, of our chickens, and there were happy chickens,
Yeah.
laying happy eggs. And there's the
Mhm.
story. That's how we could charge back in the day $7 a dozen.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, you're gonna get the customer that is gonna go, I can get those for $4. Egg is an egg, or
Yeah.
so many different things. But what you have to understand is like, well, that's not for you then. It's not your egg.
Yeah. It,
and
it
and
doesn't
that's
mean
goes undervaluing, right? Like
as
people
you go up in
undervalue.
the pyramid of like pricing, the number of clients will decrease. That's how like pretty much everything. See
Yeah,
Ferrari is a Toyota, doesn't matter, but Ferrari still makes money. Same as like what Toyota makes. It's just like how you find out your story, then make a marketing out of it, and that marketing should be solely uh, dedicated to one thing: to build your sales, to build you as a brand. If you do that within 3 years, you're gonna survive in farming or any business. If you are not able to do it, you will struggle throughout.
right. Yes. And then the story can build also on the purpose, right? And
Any kind of story, any kind of motivation behind it.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So pretty much what we just mentioned is not it's not certain if you start growing it, whatever it is, a business or a plant or a zucchini plant, it it's not certain that people will buy it, right?
Yep.
That's what we're saying. So we need to have a story, we need to have a motive, and we also need to have market, right? Marketing is market. So
Yep.
what kind of markets do you have over there for say your specific product? Like, is there a reach that you have? Are you going niching? What do you think it's best? Like,
It depends on your product, or you can go for both. Like if you are producing a large scale, you can straightly go to D2C, selling to client like an any normal milk. Just do a better marketing around it, or you can go niche like what we did. We got niche on like people who are ready to spend on their health, and who are ready to invest in their long term well being. We just selected those. And on the way, we got an idea that we were getting a lot of calls from the parents who can't afford, like, not everyone can afford a milk which is like $2 now. We are selling for $2 uh, right now per liter. But they were buying because doctor asked them to buy for their kids, that they were either lacto intolerant, or because of the chemicals they have been consuming, like we don't know the reason, or they got like weak eyes at very young age, or they're in facing indigestion. So doctors were suggesting A2 cow milk, and luckily we are one of the only one in doing at that large scale, and that's how we got another niche. So we were consistent, but now our customers gave us an idea, and then we added this also. And other than that, we pitched to some superstores as well, but we had to discontinue that one because we were having direct sale at that level, that we were not able to keep supplying them. So that is our next phase now, to increase supply through, we have marketing in place, we have a good selling price, we're making good money. uh, uh, and, and now we're thinking to add more farmers to our campaign by showing
nice.
how it's done, and then we become the channel to provide them good price. So we will not work like a typical middleman who takes like 50% of the total profits, and he's doing nothing.
No, you're just seeing the profits through the collaboration and the education, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, and that's how I think, like the world is going towards.
Yeah.
Obviously some people are going to try to stop it, but it's just having these platforms where you are able to collaborate, because then you become part of the whole, right? And by educating, by everybody learning from their mistakes, then we
Yeah.
can all grow faster, right? Sort of, in a
Also,
sense, adapt.
also we cracked two sales tactics. One is subscription, because
Right.
once someone is prescribed with milk, or they like it, they go on a subscription model. We get advanced money from our clients, which is very rare in any kind of business, that you get an advance for your product which has yet to be delivered. Most of the 90% of the world works on like you pay once you receive it, but we were getting money before, so it was one subscription. Second thing, we were basically what we are how we are growing now is to tell uh, our clients, sorry, our farmers, that we will pre-buy your stuff. So we are giving them a pre-selling guarantee already. That too, double the price, whatever they are getting. Only condition that they will use our cows. We will provide the fodder, the feed. We will have our own doctor who will look after the hygiene and the health of the cows itself. And that's how we crack that sale part. The subscription is on one end. Sorry, my light
Your
went off.
lights went out.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. Maybe some kind of. Just give me a moment. I'm another hill station, so common things in hill stations, that line sometimes go off.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, yeah, my pretty. It's like sorry for that.
Just for people to take a nap
Yeah.
or something.
So what we did, we are doing like a subscription with pre-selling. We got money in advance. We keep rotating that to our farmers, and by providing that upfront support in terms of money and everything. And I'll say that all this was possible because we were able to sell it through different sale models.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
keep trying what fits your product the most. You can find market in supermarkets. You can just go and tie up with one bigger supermarket, give them that, okay, I will give you the best produce, the freshest one, and my product will sell because I have been selling outside, but I want to go through you, because then you get a fixed model and you can increase your should not have a good sales. Or you can
Hmm.
go for a subscription model, or you can go another, like we did, you can go niche as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I mean, it's working, and I mean, like, I don't know if you guys have heard about Alex or Mosey. That's how he started his own gyms, and it was with the subscription model, and it just kept on growing because what he shared was the knowledge, and everybody was paying before ahead of time. So in farming, there's what we did too. It was the CSA program. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like, we built these boxes of vegetables, right? Whatever was current,
Mm-hmm.
and we sold them, pre-sold them. So hey, we guarantee that there's going to be this much produce in the box, and then it's like you said, you have the funding before you even start operations. And at the
Yep.
beginning of the season, you kind of get a little bit of a disc. We make the offer, right? We make the
Yeah.
offer of like saying, hey, if you sign up now, it's going to cost you, $500 for 16 weeks of produce, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the different gradings, right? Like, in depending on how much you wanted to invest, and that
Mm-hmm.
gives you the idea. That's what investment is about, right? It's,
Mm-hmm.
you get in behind the story, you get in behind the farmers, you give them your trust, and
Yeah.
then you give them your money, which is energy, right? In
Yep.
return of a promise to pay you back, and then this could be like products like, vegetables or milk, like you said, and everything like that. And these systems are just so innovative because everybody's out of stress. The farmer, he can plant, he has money to plant, he doesn't have to borrow and loan it out and pay interest on top of that, and then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden be caught and be like, like you said, your friend, right? Like he was paying interest on the loan, and by the time he goes to market, he barely makes any money. And
Yep.
again, that's kind of cutting under the value proposition too. It's like you are not valuing your work enough to be
Mm-hmm.
pre-selling or pre-creating these subscriptions, right?
Yep.
And now that these models are well known, I mean, obviously, if you mention them that they're happening in India and they're happening here, and I'm sure they're happening everywhere else in the world because they've been introduced, and it takes away again, like the banking system or the private sector system, right? And it creates less stress. And then
Mm-hmm.
what better, products you can make? It makes people focus more on the products than actually the stresses, right? Like, and now when you're growing and you're like, oh, I got all these boxes that I gotta make, and you become creative. Like, we used to put like kohlrabi and broccoli, and then as the change of seasons was like tomatoes and zucchinis, and I was just like, every box was so different, but at the end of the day, you were like, wow, this is the price you pay again. And and this makes even the growth even faster, because then we invested in more marketing, and then the word to mouth went along, and then it just exploded, right? And then it's like you said, then you create a direct market. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what businesses are about, is about after the 2 years, if you don't have a direct market, then you're doing something wrong, right?
Oh,
So you
beautifully.
got to reevaluate, right?
Yep.
And then
Even if
that,
you have a B2B market, that's fine, but yeah, it should be defined. It's not like you're every time you're trying something new, you need to have consistent channel to basically keep selling your products, which brings us to our next point, which is how to price without
yes,
banking.
right, you
Yep.
mentioned it a little bit. So you got to take all your costs, right? And even in your labor, like you got to get paid, right? In a sense, if you don't get paid, I get it. It's the love of doing it, or the purpose and everything, but you know, you also you'll still want to take the lessons that I took when
Mm-hmm.
I started taking it in my RSPs, because I was supplementing all my endeavors, right? And it's like, how they call it a hobby farm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to make it a hobby farm because a hobby, you're putting money into it no matter what you do. A business, you're pulling money out of it. And
No matter.
technically, the true business is the one that if you leave, it will continue.
Yeah.
So that's the further achievement, that if you have created a business, then you can leave on your own time. Obviously, it's still your baby and everything like that, and you want to attend it, but you're able to leave it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or months at a time, and be okay with it. And that goes with everything: is real estate, finances, farming, and everything like that. And then even taking that break helps you with your creativity. I
Mm-hmm.
see it every time I take a break. I'm like, I become more creative with more ideas and everything like that, because you're leaving all the stresses behind, right?
It's like taking one step back and analyzing everything,
Yeah.
and then you know how to take next two steps. That's why I said that taking a rest is important, and with automated business systems, it becomes more easier to take your offs. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's unintentional. Sometimes life happens, your family member is not feeling well, you have to be somewhere in urgent work. And if it's not an automated business, what happens? It's it's pretty much, if it doesn't happens, it's basically uh, that you are just creating your self-employment. It's not a business. And self-employment is good, I am not against that one,
No.
but you can't survive in a long game. You have to be very very cautious in those cases.
Yeah. And that goes again. The long
the,
vision, right? The
the
long
long
vision.
vision.
You have to see it. You have to see that what you're doing, it's not just yourself. A lot of farmers too, they get hooked with their egos, you know.
Yeah.
And it goes with any business, even in real estate. A lot of realtors, they're so like, oh, I don't think I could leave my business. I can only do it the way I want to do it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, you can, but it's also, you have to be able to teach it and then pass it on, because it's like what you were saying about branching out, right? One Tim Horton, I don't know, I've seen the slides from last week, and it was like one Tim Horton can give you out, 15,000 cups a year of coffee, but
Hmm.
multiple Tim Hortons can give out multiple millions of cups a year, right? So it's
Yeah.
the same thing. If you're able to teach your niche, you connect with your tribe, you create a niche, you market it, you specialize, and you refine it over the years, right? And it goes with farming, everything else. And then after that, you teach it to somebody else, either through subscription or anything like that. And then that guy is going to be able to serve more people, or twice as much, theoretically, right? and
Yep.
and and that goes with, like the branding of things, right? Like, so if you started a brand with that purpose, with that vision, then that's how you can achieve the routing system, or whatever they call it too, right? Xperia
Yep.
is known for that, right?
Yeah. And that comes to my favorite part, like if you how to do a branding and storytelling. Like I told you, you should do it, but how to do it? uh, what what was your what is your current take? Like whatever you did in past is you teaching learning now. So
Yeah.
what do you learn and what you can teach from your seed angle?
From my seat angle,
Yeah.
well, it's just teach my hippie story. Like, I'm a hippie down inside, and I do connect with stories, and it's like, you know um there's so much connection, and it's about spirituality, and I feel like, like, it gives me purpose. And I don't know, I guess you have to feel it in order to be able to explain it. But, there's for me, there's nothing more than planting a seed. And like I said last week, it was more like planting it. It was like I put it in my mouth, swish it around, then I hold it in the palm, and then I just envision how it's going to grow, how big, how much is it going to produce. And then you put it inside the soil, right? And then all of a sudden it sprouts. It's like, oh my God, I'm having a baby, sort of excitement, right? and and then and then it's like, and then it grows bigger, and then the first time you see a flower, it's like, oh, there's a flower. And then it comes the bee, and then it pollinates it, and then all of a sudden it's like it turns into the fruit, and then it grows, and then it starts having, it's going to have seeds inside, because before you took it out, and you saw their father, right? And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you do this over the generations, you do it over the years, right? And it's like over and over, and it all started from that one seed, right? And it's just like, and over time, now I can tell that story, right? Because it's like, over time, it's like, oh man, like, I knew your grandfather, kind of thing. And there's such a connection, and such a, like, the feeling, that's what I connect with. It's more like the feeling, the spirituality of it. And it is the inspiration, right, that comes with it, and farming.
Okay.
What about you? What do you think your story makes the difference?
Like everyone was like the distribution of milk is so unscattered in India that other than the big players, like it's being done by local milkmen. But when I see them, they don't even talk to their clients or they don't do anything pretty much. They don't do anything to talk to the clients or to sell their beliefs or sell their story. They just go there, put money. Just give me a moment. There is a situation here. I think my neighborhood got a fire, so
What?
I have, yeah, I have to evacuate right now. There's a fire in the nearby building, and it's quite big. Uh, so
Okay, you
I'm
gotta
sorry,
go.
but yeah, my partner told
Holy
me that
smokes.
a big fire. I will post you on that one, so we can post it on. Maybe I just send you, and I'm leaving the place because I have to shift my hotel now
Yeah,
from here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so sorry for that, but it's
No,
something
no problem.
unexpected. Like we say, we never expect things happening. It is happening right now. Okay, so
Yeah,
sorry
no,
to
no,
everyone.
no, no need
Sorry.
to apologize.
Yeah, you can carry on, Ricardo, or maybe we'll continue this with our next one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My partner left with all his stuff right now, so I just
Okay,
have to
okay,
leave.
okay. Go, 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 go. You don't have
Bye
to
bye. So sorry.
explain.
Bye.
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 Holy smokes. Wow. There you have it. Something unexpected. Sorry about that, guys. Out there. Things happen. And that's another thing. I hope he's gonna be okay. I better check on him and give him a call and everything like that. But yeah, I just wanted to finish up the story. I mean, obviously we can catch up with Gaurav next week and check on him. Probably we should actually check with him in the next 15 or 10 minutes. But yeah, going back, another lesson that I learned was about seed uh, extraction. That was another huge lesson. How do you extract seeds? And one of the best seeds, my favorite fruit or vegetables, I don't know, some people have debates on that, is the tomato. And how do you extract the tomato? I long searched for the best way, but at the beginning, you take the tomato and you try to peel them off one by one, and you know how many seeds there are in a tomato. There's lots, right? And then you dry them, and then some of them, they build up this pattern because it's from the pectin in the tomato, and it was just like horrible. I was like, most of the seeds weren't even drying. Most of the seeds were like creating like dried tomatoes and pastes and everything. And then when you go to plant, most of them didn't germinate. So I went again on YouTube and found out this way of preserving the seeds. And a farmer actually said, what you do is you mimic nature. So again, you mimic nature. You don't create anything new. Even with business, you don't create anything new. You just mimic it and then apply it. And what we did is we took the tomatoes, we crushed them in a bucket, filled it up with water, and then the all of the tomatoes, they float. And then you leave a lid on, but just a little bit left open so that it has air to there. And so what's happening is the tomato will start fermenting because of its own natural processes and the bacteria that it's in it. And once it ferments, the seeds will get released, and the bacteria that is eaten around the seed, and the seed will drop because it's got weight, it's got energy and source. The seed is a very packed, intense um, carriage vessel. It's a vessel, right? It has all the DNA structure of the plant, the future plant, right? And so it's heavy. And then what happens is the seed goes to the bottom of the bucket, and voila, the pulp goes to the top. So the top, you separate it, and then you have left a seed. All of the seeds are in the bottom, and the viable seeds are in the bottom, because the ones that are empty, they just float with the pulp. And after that, it's so easy. You just spread it on a cookie cutter sheet, and you're done. You preserve that. Um, so that's again, if you don't learn anything, and if you're not willing to learn and change the systems, you will waste a lot of time. And it goes with everything: real estate, it goes with finances. If you don't learn the finances, how money works, and how to store it properly, how to avoid the tax man. That's another thing that we're going to talk about next week is taxes and banking system, and what are these system, who are these system profiting, right? And I want to talk about it a little bit more because I don't know about you, who loves to pay taxes. We just had a conference, and I don't think anybody put their hands up in paying taxes, because also, I could see a lot of people saying, well, if you don't pay taxes, you don't build roads. Roads are built by people. They're not built by the taxes or by far the government. The government, actually, in itself, if we want to talk about roads, they hire people to build the roads. So technically, it's kind of like having a middleman into building these roads that can be built by the same people that are building them right now. So that goes again with farming. What Gaurav was talking about was extracting that middleman and making the direct sales, right? And that's what people don't value, and kind of try to stay away from it too. They try to stay away from the sales, but everybody has to sell something. If it's not selling yourself, you're being sold too. Grant Cardone talks about it all the time, right? So it's like we have to understand what happens in life, and that's comes with experience. I mean, if you're young, that's great, you got a lot of things to learn as well, but listen to your elders. They have good advice. Well, listen to the elders, actually, that you want to be or you look up to. Obviously, make it your own story. Everybody has their own story, and that was part of this podcast. Is And that's the point that I wanted to get across with Gaurav, because we have similar stories, but we're so different, and everybody's different, and they have their own story. But make your story fun, and then you're going to attract the people that you want in your life, no matter what. It's bountiful, unless you want have a sad story, and it's okay. It's that freedom, and I don't know how many sad people you're going to attract. I hope there's happy people in this world, but also, like, try to make that story, and then learn about sales and connect the two, because that will just benefit you, and also it will make sales so much easier. And I come from personal experience with real estate. I came into the business, and I didn't like realtors as much. I thought they were sleazy or commission braggers, or just another type of car salesman. And then having that idea, having that mindset, made me be that person. And I was like, I don't want to be that person. But then you are that person. So once I realized through mentorship and through other people, like Franco here on the call too, um, having their support, having their idea, I found my story. And having my story, I started attracting my tribe. And then the sales came. And it goes, and it's funny, because when you're with the universe, you can actually see the universe talks back to you. Because then after that, I was seeing podcasts about, it's your story, make it your own. You are welcome to imitate and copy somebody else, because even if you're copying, you're still going to put your spices on, right? Like, nobody makes pasta the same way. There's so many different chefs. Even if they have the same ingredients, even if they have the same products, the same location, the same store, each chef cooks it differently. So it's like, and whoever likes that flavor, it's their tribe. So it's the same thing with business. Don't worry about the sales part too much. Just make the story, Stick with it. Stick with you. Stick with being natural, being yourself, and then the rest will come. Obviously, there is a little bit of sales in there, but the rest will come. The passion will burst out, and the positivity, the reactions are just going to follow through and just snowball. This is a different podcast for sure. We're going to talk a little bit about how to scale next week with Gaurav. He's a little bit more of the expert in that sense because he's going through the process, and he's also being a little bit more into the finance world than I have. But I am going to end this podcast here today. I want to thank you, everybody, for watching this. Thank you for all the comments. I don't know if you have seen this, but this week we were able to post the comments online. It's a new feature. But thank you for watching, and please give us a call, email, or just stay in touch. If you feel like you want to communicate your story, or maybe one day you want to jump on the podcast because you feel like you have a message to bring, you're more than welcome to. This podcast was called about seeds and sales, and I hope I've inspired you to plant the seeds, your seed, the seed that you swish in your mouth, you hold in your hand, and you give that vision where you want to be, where you want to see yourself. And then one day I want to watch it with you grow, and if you need help with selling it, we got lots of people here on this chat that are able to help you with the marketing and finding the niche market that you deserve, because everybody has something in them. There is a seed in all of us, and I'm hoping that seed will spread out and make you grow and be abundant and bring you a ton of abundance, because it is abundant. Just look at a plant or a fruit tree, and you look, from one seed it produces thousands over years. Yes, there is difficult times. Yes, there is dry times. But once that fruit is up on the tree, collect it. Enjoy it. That's the reward. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching, and I will keep you posted here on our posts as well on Gaurav's situation, and see how he's doing, and hopefully he's okay and he made it out of the fire in time. But anyways, until next week, where we're going to talk about taxes and banks, please stay tuned, and we'll see you then. Thank you for watching again. This is Rico with Xperia Financial. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.